Okay, today we're tackling something that is literally one of the most misunderstood concepts in all of personal finance: why having a massive salary doesn't actually mean you're wealthy. If you've ever looked at your bank account and thought, wait, I make good money, where is it all going? You're definitely not alone. It's super common. So we're gonna break down the mindset, the traps, and the habits of true wealth building. And to make it fun, we'll be visualizing these concepts using some simple doodle-style illustrations. Let's see what really separates the high earners from the truly wealthy.
Let's dive right in with these two doodle stick men. Picture this: two people, both making the exact median household income, about $80,000 a year. They're starting from the exact same baseline. But fast forward 10 years into the future. One of them is living the life of total financial freedom, and the other, completely drowning in payments, living paycheck to paycheck with zero safety net. How on earth does that happen? What did they do differently? Well, as we'll see, it comes down to tiny, daily choices that snowball into habits, and those invisible habits ultimately determine your entire financial destiny.
So part one, the high income myth. This is a massive mental hurdle we have got to clear right out of the gate.
There's this completely false belief out there that a big paycheck is like a magic wand that just makes your money problems vanish. But the data, it tells a wildly different story. Like we mentioned, the median household income in the US is around $80,000. Yet, almost half of all Americans pulling in $100,000 a year say they're living paycheck to paycheck. And it gets even crazier, honestly. Of those earning over $200,000, literally more than double the median income, nearly 1 in 4 say they don't have enough money to get by. Think about that for a second. A quarter of people making over $200K are still scraping the bottom of the barrel at the end of the month. How is that even possible?
Well, it really boils down to one crucial mindset shift: looking rich versus actually being wealthy. You know the drill. Someone gets a high-paying job, and suddenly there's this intense, unspoken pressure to look the part. So they go out and finance a brand new BMW, they rent that luxury downtown apartment just to impress their peers, who, by the way, are probably way too stressed about their own debts to even notice. That's looking rich, but it leaves you totally exposed with absolutely zero savings. Truly wealthy people, they're often driving modest, super reliable cars. Think a Toyota Corolla, because they know wealth isn't about flashy stuff. True wealth is that strong, hidden net worth you build quietly in the background.
Which brings us to part two, the lifestyle creep trap. This right here is exactly how those six-figure earners end up totally broke.
Now look, it's perfectly fine to enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? Nobody wants to live like a monk forever. But there is a much smarter way to handle a raise or a bonus so you don't inflate your spending right alongside your income. It's called the 60-40 rule. Here's how it works. If you direct 60% of any new money straight toward increasing your savings and investments, you can safely use that remaining 40% to upgrade your lifestyle. Go ahead, buy the nicer coffee, take that vacation, get some new clothes. By sticking to this strict ratio, you basically guarantee that your net worth is always growing way faster than your spending habits. Moving right along to part 3, the danger of debt and blind spots. Avoiding that lifestyle creep we just talked about is exactly how you prevent falling into crippling debt traps.
Let's talk about a number that is currently weighing incredibly heavy on millions of people. $1,000. Where does that number come from? Well, the average American is carrying around 3.9 credit cards, and the average monthly payment on just one of those cards, roughly $272. Do the math there, and you'll see that everyday folks are just casually walking around with about $1,000 in minimum monthly payment burdens, dragging them down every single month.
But the truly devastating part here isn't just the money going out, it's the opportunity cost. What if you didn't have that debt? If you took that exact same $1,000 a month and invested it at a relatively conservative 7% return, over just 10 years, it would snowball into a massive $170,000. Debt isn't just about paying interest today, folks. It's an invisible thief. By letting debt silently eat away your cash flow month after month, you are literally robbing your future self of hundreds of thousands of dollars of security.
So why do we let this happen? Honestly, it's because we're flying completely financially blind. A study by RTI International found that people chronically underestimate their own expenses by nearly 30%. 30%! So if your monthly budget is $5,000, a 30% error means you have a massive $1,500 monthly blind spot. Ignorance feels like bliss, doesn't it? It's genuinely painful to open up those bank apps and confront where our money is actually going. But sticking your head in the sand is a trap designed to keep you broke. Just imagine what finding an extra $1,500 hidden inside your own budget could do for your wealth-building journey right now. Game changer, right?
Okay, part 4, the magic of compounding. We've talked about the psychology and the traps to avoid, so let's get into the simple habits that cure procrastination and actually create massive wealth. Let's set up the ultimate financial showdown. First up, we've got Manny. Manny gets a head start. He invests $500 a month starting right at age 20. But at 30, life happens and he completely stops. Doesn't put in another dime. Over that decade, he invested a total of $60,000. Then we have average Alan. Alan procrastinates a bit and starts his investing journey 10 years later at age 30. But once he starts, he is diligent. He invests $500 every single month for 35 straight years until he retires at 65. So Alan puts in a massive $210,000 of his own hard-earned cash. So I'm asking you directly, between Manny and Alan, who actually has more money sitting in their account at age 65? Logically, right, your brain is probably screaming that it has to be Alan. I mean, the guy invested for 35 years, compared to Manny's short 10-year sprint. Plus, Alan put in 210 grand, while Manny only contributed a measly 60 grand. It seems obvious, doesn't it? Well, get ready for this, because the truth is absolutely shocking. Manny actually comes out ahead by $343,000. No way, right? Let that sink in. Manny ends up with hundreds of thousands of dollars more, even though he contributed less than a third of what Alan did. Why? Purely because of what people call the eighth wonder of the world, compound growth. By investing early, Manny gave his money way more time to grow, multiply, and snowball. It's the ultimate proof that time in the market is vastly more powerful than trying to time the market or even the raw amount of cash you put in.
Which leads us to our final section, Part 5, Automating Abundance. So how do we make sure we actually become like Manny?
We need a reliable system, and that system is called paying yourself first. Seriously, this is the single foundational habit that has quietly created more millionaires than almost any other strategy out there. It means treating your savings and your investments exactly like your rent or your electric bill. It is totally non-negotiable. You set up automatic transfers. That way, the exact moment your paycheck hits your checking account, a set portion is instantly routed straight to your investments before you even have a chance to see it. This one simple automation completely shifts your psychology. You stop looking at your money merely as a tool to buy things that lose value, and you start treating yourself as your own most important creditor. You're turning your income into a powerful engine for long-term growth.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative question to chew on. Are your daily choices building an empire, or are they just financing an illusion? Remember those two stickmen we started with, both making 80K? The difference between their lives 10 years later had absolutely nothing to do with their income. It was 100% about their intentionality. You know the traps now. You know the incredible, unmatched power of time and compounding. The only thing left to do is to take an active, intentional role in your financial life today. Make those small, short-term adjustments for incredible long-term wealth and start building your empire. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you next time.
Freedom isn't given, it's built, and it starts with what you do next.